We are back. Did you see that video where the K9 handler's dog bit the police in Baytown?
Yes, I did. I saw that video.
K9 scared me. Oh shit! The K9 biting the police. That K9 need to trade in. That K9 is like.
What you think about that?
Man, it was interesting. The video was interesting. You know, there's a lot of things we can say about that. You know, mistakes that were made. More importantly than the mistakes that were made with the officers, what about the comment section?
Comment section is interesting.
How many mistakes were in the comment section?
Oh, almost all of those comments are absurd.
Yeah.
They was like, he must have had some dope on him.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why the dog bit him.
Obviously, the officer had drugs on him for the dog to bite him, right?
It had
Yeah.
to be drugs.
I
Had to be
had to.
Because when dogs smell drugs, they bite.
So not to laugh at people that aren't educated on law enforcement dogs, but dual purpose dogs, single purpose narcotics dogs, bomb dogs, they do not bite when they find odor. Could you imagine that shit? I mean, the dog would be high. Can you imagine a dog indicating on somebody with, indicating on a box full of ecstasy?
And just biting it, bro.
Hey, man, it's going to be a real interesting day after he digests that
Oh,
And the
poor
police
guy.
gonna have a lot of lawsuits on
Yeah,
their
for
hands.
real.
Yes,
He ate
yeah.
my dope.
Oh, you're gonna be
So-
biting all the men with
Biting all
dope.
the men with the dope.
You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
So to the comment section saying that the officer had drugs, he didn't have drugs
Yeah.
on him. A dog is not going to indicate with a bite. They will sit, stare. If it's a passive indication, if it's an aggressive indication, they'll paw at it or they'll bark. They're not going to bite. To put everyone at ease, the officer did not have drugs.
A lot of people look at that situation and they think it was a real scenario. You know, when I got to really looking at it, I don't believe it was a real scenario that they were in. It looked like more of practice, more of training. Did you notice that?
Yeah, to me, being a decoy that has done extensive decoying with law enforcement units all around the country, that, in my opinion, was more than likely a training video. We don't know because we weren't there, but I watched the video. For one, it wasn't a heightened sense of urgency, right? They were coming in pretty slow. They were pretty calm. I noticed that they were drawn, but they weren't drawn in a manner that was going to be, you know, prepared to engage. It was training. It was very relaxed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they wasn't really assertive.
Yeah, in
you
a
know.
situation where you're rolling up onto a car with a shield and K9, like, and you think that there's an armed assailant or something in there, it's gonna be not that relaxed. And two, like, they're coming up with a shield, which means that they probably think that the assailant in the car is armed. The departments that I've worked with are not going to deploy the dog into a scenario with a known armed subject because chances are the dog's going to get killed.
They don't want to get the dog killed.
Yeah, and that's going to become a problem with the chain of command.
And the officer threw a tug.
The
Yeah,
officer threw
yeah.
a tug. So in the scenarios that I've ran with my law enforcement guys, we've done bailouts like that. There's a chase that ensues, or there's a certain car they're looking for. I park the car, I bail and run and hide somewhere. And the first thing they're doing is rolling up, you know, drawn, whatever. Dog comes in, enters the vehicle. I'm not there. Dog comes back out, and then they begin the search and track me to the shack or whatever that I'm hiding in 300 yards away. So more than likely what was supposed to happen in that scenario was the dog was supposed to go in. There's no bad guy to engage. He comes out. There was an object, which, you know what, maybe what the officer threw was the object the dog was supposed to get the odor from.
Okay.
Dog gets odor, tracks, finds the bad guy, bites. In this situation, the bad guy's already gone because that's the training scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Dog comes out and he nails this officer. The question though is, why did he nail the officer?
The first thing I would say, in that scenario, was he supposed to be going to get the tug for the reward? Was that supposed to be the reward, or was there indicated odor to be indicated on that?
Right. That's a possibility. You know, that's hard to say because you can't really tell what it was. But most of the times when we've done it, like maybe I would drop something and the dog would get odor off of that, but it's a possibility that maybe that object that the officer threw was whatever the dog was to get the odor off of. Who knows?
I feel like it was a tug.
It looked like
It kind of
of
comes from here, like
Yeah.
the waistband area, and
Just
he
kinda
tosses
threw
it
it,
like,
yeah.
hey, you know, here's your reward. But
What did he
instead,
reward him for? He didn't do anything besides going into the vehicle at the time.
I don't know if it was a tug or not, but I'm just trying to play it out of my mind. Maybe
Yeah.
it was just to relieve some of that tension for the dog, just to get something.
great job, you checked the car. I mean,
Yeah. But you know, I'll tell you one thing. That dog was queuing in on that man before they got up to the door of that truck.
absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. Simple explanation for that, I think a lot of people are looking into it too deeply, mostly because they don't know how this training goes and what happens with the dogs, you know.
Well, a lot of the videos that you see when we're talking about like apprehension canine specifically are the suspect is already running. Like, you're seeing videos of dogs chasing people down the street and whatnot. You're not seeing videos of these dogs checking cars and whatnot. The ones that you are seeing of them checking the cars is a dope dog.
Yeah, or the bad guys in the car won't come out, so they send the dog in to get him.
Yeah.
It's pretty evident, in my opinion. It would be pretty evident. I'm looking at this situation where the guys are rolling up on the car in the parking lot. The driver's door is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think that the bad guy is just going to be chilling in the car waiting with the door open? Like, hey, guys, come get me. Common sense. There's no one in there.
Yeah.
Right? So it's pretty clear to say that this is a training exercise. Like, and anyone that thought any different is, wrong.
Yeah.
More than likely.
Yeah, but they don't know.
But they don't know. But so my theory is, after watching the dog come out, keyed up on the officer. He was keyed on the specific officer the whole time. He wasn't looking at everybody. He's looking at
That
number
one
2
guy
in the stack. So number 2 in the stack has my attention as the dog as soon as I come out. Why? What are some reasons? Why would I be queued up on number 2 in the stack?
That's who he trains with.
He's a familiar guy. He's a
That's who
decoy.
he trains with. That's who's decoying for the dog. 100%.
100%. It wasn't drugs. It wasn't that the officer's a bad guy and dog sense bad people, so he's like, I'm going to nail this bad guy.
Yeah.
Someone said that in the comments.
I saw that.
You can
It's
smell
domestic violence.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know.
You can smell all kind of
You can
crimes on the
smell-
guy, huh?
I just smell domestic violence on that guy.
But I
People
mean,
bite him.
you look at his body language too when the dog actually makes impact with him too. He stands still, lifts his arm, and he just stands still, and he's like, "All right, get your dog, man." Like,
Right.
Yeah.
that's a trained behavior.
That's a trained behavior.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you know any fighting, the dog is going to be thrashing. So
Yeah,
he's
as
like,
soon as you become the rabbit and you start squealing.
hey, I heard him grunt a few times, but I don't believe he wanted to
He was
grunt.
like, "Hey!"
He didn't want to, but it hurt.
That done hurt, boy.
Oh shit.
He's grunting. He's
Yeah,
like, if I
so-
keep grunting, the dog gonna keep digging in.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Don't give him anything.
Yeah.
And that's what he was trying to. You saw him. He froze. He didn't give him anything. He didn't step. He didn't move. He didn't flinch. A couple grunts, but he was trying to not give the dog anything because any type of reaction is a satisfaction to the dog, and it makes him drive harder. So
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job.
He was an OG on that. Man.
Yeah, so
shout
he-
out to him. Shout out
yes,
to
for
him.
real.
the guy's tough as nails.
Yeah.
But the reason that he was able to make sure the bite stayed where it was, because when he saw the dog coming, you could see a little shift. He gave the dog something to bite that wasn't a nasty rib area where he was going to the hospital.
Yeah.
And the fact he stood still, like he knew what he was doing, and the dog keyed up on him is because this guy is the guy that puts on the sleeve for the dog or gets into a suit for the dog or whatever. I know a lot of Leo guys, instead of having to change their uniform and everything, they just throw a sleeve on to train.
Yeah.
So that's what it was, in my opinion, is that he is probably the decoy.
Yeah. I think it could have been avoided a little bit because we could see the dog was kind of wiry.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah,
have
that
been.
dog was on. He was on it. He was ready.
Yeah, the handler was just kind of like focused in on that moment and wasn't really paying attention. When the dog went in the truck, he probably wasn't looking for him to come out so fast.
Right.
Because he came out so fast and was like,
So back to what we were talking about earlier, there were some things that I think could have been different, could have done differently. Like you as the handler see the dog keyed up. You know, if we're running a training scenario and I bring my dog out, and you're my cameraman, right? And you're my decoy, and I watch my dog is keyed up on you, I'm gonna reel that dog in and change directions. Let him see this is where we're going. Now, my dog does what the handler's dog does and comes out of the car. You know when you came in, he's keyed up on you. Short leash that dog real quick so nothing goes bad, because now he went in here to find the target that he's going to bite. That target's not there. Somebody's getting bitten.
Yeah.
My man learned the handler skill that day.
He did.
He learned the handler skill. Look,
Everything's
ain't
a
nobody
learning point.
perfect. Ain't nobody perfect. Like, you learn sometimes you learn the hard way with these dogs. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And he learned it by his buddy taking a bite,
Right.
a live bite.
You know, and sometimes in training you can get a little complacent, you know, and you're like, I know this dog, everything's going to be cool, we're just training, which is more than likely what happened. And, you know, things happen in training. It's a hell of a lot better for it to happen in training than in a real hot situation,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, because that could have been real bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm guessing that's what happened. And but that being said, is why these guys should hire outside decoys to come in and work the dogs, so you know, so it doesn't happen, because these things happen all the time. They happen all the time, but people don't see it because there's not generally some random dude standing there recording a training session. You know, this just happened to be a training session in a public place, which, you know, again, it happens quite a bit, but generally people aren't standing around recording it, right?
Yeah.
So these bites, they happen all the time, and I feel like they happen all the time because the other handlers or people within the unit are decoying their own dogs within the unit, and now the dog is used to biting someone in a uniform. They're used to biting this specific guy.
Because that man that's decoying the dog also has to always be around that dog.
Exactly.
And that is a problem within itself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's an issue. You know, those other guys probably weren't K9, but that handler, you know, he could have been K9. Who knows? But they all could have been Baytown K9 handlers just running a scenario on the training day, which, you know, it could have been, I don't know. But I've never worked with Baytown. But if you guys want to stop that stuff, give me a shout. I'm happy to come.
for sure. For sure.
So, yeah, you know, I don't think that officers should decoy their own dogs because it does put them at risk.
Yeah.
You know, it's
They got to run too many drills around that dog. That's
Right.
going to be always targeting them
Yeah.
and looking for them.
and it doesn't have to be the specific officer. Shit, it can just be another officer like in uniform. Once that dog gets used to biting what looks like this every time, they become targets.
It's like a dog getting used to seeing a man in a suit.
Exactly.
You got that full protection suit on.
Mhm.
Now he sees any man in a suit. He's queued up. He's ready.
Yeah.
The only difference is all he's seeing now is black uniforms. He's biting a man with a black uniform on.
Yeah. Or, you know, you can go as far as saying, like, hell, beards. You know, you take me and my man Paul Freeney, both big ass dudes with big beards. A dog is biting us exclusively. Pretty soon, Mark's a target because he got a beard. You know? Homeboy down the street has got a beard. He becomes a target. You know, like, it can become association.
They key up on patterns 100%.
Yeah.
Patterns and visuals, you know, they're visual learners. We look like the prey.
Yeah.
We the prey.
We're the prey. You know, so whatever they're associating, and, you know, he associated that man, that uniform, whatever that he's used to biting, and that he became the prey. You know, I could be wrong. This all is, you know, speculation, of course. But it makes sense. It makes a lot more sense than smelling domestic violence on him.
Yeah, he smelled a felony on the man.
Yeah.
So,
Golly.
so hey, that's our take on the situation. Evry K9, we over and out.